Thank you very much. I will be presenting, as you said, on behalf of the two of us, Alba and myself. So, do imaginaries of the future shape our present? Do they shape the actions we make, the decisions we take? Do they shape what we think possible or even feasible? Would we be standing here today if we did not have a sort of shared imaginary of the future that derives from this research showcase? Would society be possible at all if we did not have any kind of imaginaries of the future? In our research project, Everyday Life Futures, we firmly believe, and it has been our work hypothesis all along, that imaginaries of the future do shape our present, and furthermore, they are a necessary condition for society, for social life, as we know it, to be possible. So this leads us to one main question, which we like to concentrate upon. When, how, and where are these imaginaries of the future born? How are they negotiated upon and crystallized into future-shaping decisions and actions? In this research project, we have focused on many different processes and objects. We have focused on autobiographical narratives, fiction, politics, and policies, economic processes of decision-making, and also on what concentrates our attention today, on events. Events condensate and relate imaginaries of the future, make them dialogue with one another, moving some to the fore and others to the background. Events such as fairs, showcases, congresses, and exhibitions. Events have been with us for a long, long time. They started in the 18th, 19th, and 20th century in trade and universal exhibitions, and they have gained more importance throughout modernity. We will work with Lampel and Meyer's definition of field configuring events for the kind of events that specially call our attention. Lampel and Meyer's, you can see, have defined field configuring events as temporary social organizations that encapsulate and shape the development of professionals, technologies, markets, and industries. It's a definition made for the social subsystem of the economy. We will furthermore add that field configuring events, when they are really field configuring, when they work, they are catalysts of the future. They allow many and intense relations within their walls and within the very few days that they actually last for. Field configuring events, therefore, condensate a strong potential for the creation of futures. In late modernity, which in our opinion started around 1970s, 1980s, and has been going on until today, the number of field configuring events has radically increased, and furthermore, there are more and more fields being structured by this kind of events, so events are gaining importance. They give birth to material, relational, and concrete results, collective sense-making, and social and reputational resources. In order to make our point strong, we have focused for this presentation on one research case, and this is the Mobile World Congress, held in Barcelona, as you know, since 2006, being the largest gathering of the mobile industry worldwide. The Mobile World Congress focuses on technologies of communication, and therefore the imaginaries that are being mobilized there relate to leisure, consumption, organization, and communication of work life, intimate life, public life, mobilities. Very important imaginaries of the future, as you may see. As visitors in the Mobile World Congress, visitors relate at the same time to a great number of objects. There is a huge density of objects there. They are not quite piled together, but they are in a very, very dense way next to each other. So the only relation that is possible for us to have with them is a relation of contrast. We perceive them through differences, through contrasts. And one object that in this year's edition was the star of the Congress is the object that will sort of capture our attention from now on. During our observation in the Mobile World Congress, we could see that there were two stands that were constantly full of people. It was difficult to get a glimpse of what was being shown there. And they were the Nokia stands. In the Nokia stands, you could see many people having a look at the new smartphones that they have produced, But above all, you could see people gathering to see the Nokia 3310, a sort of revisited version of an iconic phone of that company. So, the Nokia 3310 was released in the year 2000, and it was produced until 2005. It sold more than 126 million copies. It was known for many of us for its indestructibility and its long-lasting batteries, and it's been remembered with a sort of melancholy by many users. We think that the emotional memories concentrated with this object are a key to understanding the reasons behind the mediatic success that this relaunching had. So, the Nokia 3310, with its super basic functions of phoning and texting, link perhaps adult generations who use smartphones mainly for work to a sort of imaginary of disconnecting, and also to an imaginary of a past time in which we could say that we had not read an email and nothing happened because we read emails once or twice a day. And we did not have to be connected 24 hours every day of the week through WhatsApp or Messenger. So in these times that we may think of when we see this mobile, we were not expected to give an immediate reply to everything we got. And that immediate reply would be an unexpected surprise, but not an expectation. So, this revival may link us to imaginaries of de-acceleration, as the sociologist Hartmut Rosa has been theorizing upon, that reduce the speeding up of our lives and that which our jobs actually demand from us. Thus, Nokia 3310, we could say that it was the event in the event, for its function as a catalyst of relations, emotions, reflections, imaginaries of the future, memories, and also imaginaries of the past, all projected into that one object. So it worked as a sort of time machine, in a way. For the older generation, it related us to imaginaries of past futures and made us become aware of how we had imagined the future today, 2017, and how we actually are using technologies today, which may not be quite the same. For the younger generation, though, related to imaginaries of the past they did not actually experience, it may be consumed as a style item, a vintage phone, a relic with basic functions that looks really cool. But of course, there was also some discussion in relation to this phone, whether it is actually a product or rather a marketing campaign for the renewed company Nokia. But be it as it may, it was successful. It was successful in structuring this edition of the Mobile World Congress and perhaps not delivering answers regarding the future of the industry, but it was successful in asking the correct questions that found acceptance among its visitors. The Mobile World Congress stands therefore as representative for those future-shaping events that we described at the beginning of our presentation, and Nokia 3310, within this context of the Congress, became an object upon which desired or feared futures were being projected and negotiated. It tells us at the moment what is at stake for us now when we look at the future of technology and communication. It reflects at the same time two imaginaries. On the one hand, our desire and our imaginary for more communication, more innovation and technological development, but at the same time also our desire for de-acceleration and for a more socially responsible technological development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luca. You have all my admiration because your object of research is future. That's nice.
Yes, it is.
Okay, questions there?
Can you hear me?
Now
can. You can. Okay, I was congratulating you for your wonderful presentation. I think, as you know, that the topic of your research is a very interesting one. I was wondering if you could tell us more about the general aims of your project, because you here presented us only with one example, a very representative one, but maybe you could tell us more about the general aims of the whole project.
The whole research project is working with the hypothesis on what role imaginaries of the future play in social life in general, in our everyday life relationships, so, and how they are configuring of the possibility of society as we know them, or as we know it. For instance, if we did not have imaginaries of the future, if we did not think that when we get out of here, the world has continued as normal, and there are things that will be waiting for us outside, we would not be here. And many of the things we do because we are sort of certain that a certain future is going to happen. And we need that certainty, in a way, a certainty that we can suspend, and we can suspend it in many times, but normally we don't, because it keeps us functioning as a society and as human beings. So the imaginaries of the future are, in our understanding, a key concept for sociological theorization of how society is possible. And that is the huge aim of the project as a whole.
Yeah, that's it. I have another one. Because I guess that the projections of the future that an object can contain can change over time.
Of course.
So if you reproduce same study, same people 10 years ahead, the perception will become completely different, right? So can you build on that? Or
yeah, sure. I mean, actually, the advantage of this project is that it existed already 10 years ago.
Okay.
It started, well, 12 years ago. It started in 2005, and it had a first wave until 2007. But by that time, I was still in Germany, so I gathered interviews, autobiographical interviews in Germany as well as in Catalonia. And they are the basis upon which we have been doing our comparisons when we gather again autobiographical interviews. We have not interviewed the same concrete people, as we do not think this is very necessary as we are gathering social discourses out of their narratives. But the comparison has been extremely important and rich because we had a huge economic crisis in between that has shaped many different imaginaries of the future. And Germany, which keeps on being a contrast case, has had a huge wave of arrival of refugees with many discourses concerning fears of the future, filtering themselves into the everyday life narratives of many people who have been interviewed. So indeed, it is a privilege to be able to have this perspective, but it means that you have to keep on working on the same project for a long time.
Okay, for the future, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.